My daughter told me she would do anything for me, but I don't recall asking her to murder her mother. I never wanted to be a father. When I was younger, I was a stupid kid with big dreams. I got my friends Anna, Kevin, and Dylan together, and from sundown until curfew, we'd be out in the woods shooting our own homemade horror flick. We had no idea what we were doing, but I loved it. I promised myself that as soon as I'd saved up enough from my crappy gas station job, I was going to catch a bus out to LA and become a filmmaker. And then Anna got pregnant. Anna was Catholic, and she refused to even consider getting an abortion. She told me she was going to raise the baby and that I could stick around if I wanted or not. I thought long and hard about leaving, but I remembered how hard it was on my mom and me when my dad took off, and I swore I'd never do that to anyone. No, I wasn't going to be like my dad. I was going to take care of my responsibilities like a real man. So I stayed. Just for a little while, I told myself. Just until we could save enough to make the move. I already had $200 in my account, just needed a little more. Anna said she would go with me wherever I needed to be, even though I knew she didn't hate the town like I did. She thought it was peaceful and sweet, and she disliked the speed and noise of big cities. Whatever, I thought. She'd like it enough once we got there. The plan was still the same. It would just take a little longer was all. I was still going to get out. I had to. Everyone had told me that my life would change when the baby came, that I was going to feel this surge of love and joy just looking at her. But when I saw that squirming little creature, gray and gooey and covered in blood, screaming like a murder victim, all I wanted to do was get away. It was like a prop from a horror flick, and I almost shoved the doctor off when he handed it to me. "What a beautiful baby girl," the nurses said. I didn't know how they could call this thing beautiful. Her name was Olivia, and she loved me. Whenever she bumped her knee, she wanted me to kiss it. When it was time for bed, she wanted me to read her a story. When the other kids were mean to her at school, it was my shoulder she wanted to cry on. She followed me everywhere and looked at everything I did with total admiration and awe. I wish I could tell you I warmed to her, but there's no use in lying about these things. Not anymore. Not after what happened. Anna tried so hard to win our daughter's love, but no matter how many times she cooked Olivia's favorite meal or bought her expensive toys from the store, Olivia only wanted to spend time with Daddy. Daddy, Daddy, Daddy all damn day long. Anna resented me. She picked fights about how I was monopolizing our daughter's affection. I tried to tell her that it wasn't my fault, that I wished they could spend more time together and leave me alone for even half a minute. I yelled at my wife, not caring that my daughter was listening from her room. I kept waiting for all that love and joy I was supposed to feel, but I only felt constant irritation and disgust in the presence of this grubby, filthy, loud, selfish little creature. This creature that followed me like a mangy puppy, her sticky, stinking fingers on my leg, on my hands, on my face, and always, when my revulsion had reached its highest pitch and I was ready to blow up at her just for being born, she would look at me with those big blue eyes and say, "I love you, Daddy." And she would wait for me to say it back, but I could only nod and send her off to bed. I worked longer hours, but it became harder to save money. Olivia needed school supplies, ADHD meds, clothes, lunch money. Anna kept buying toys, trying to win her daughter's love. I spent more and more time at the bar after my shift, drinking my paycheck away. But I kept trying to save, kept trying to build up my little nest egg. The dream had faded, but it was still there. Hollywood, filmmaking career, getting out of the town. Yes, I had to get out. I had to. I just capped off another long shift and a long stint at the bar the night it happened. I stumbled into our little rental on the outskirts of town, and I saw Anna sitting on the couch. She was bathed in the dim light from a desk lamp that served as our only living room light, and she was surrounded by a little graveyard of wadded up tissues. I'd seen her like this before, on nights when Olivia told her that she didn't want to play with her, or talk to her, or be around her at all. "Where's Daddy?" she would go, and Anna would have a breakdown and scream at me all night. Knowing I was in for it, I went on the offensive to try to gain an advantage. "Jesus Christ, can't I come home to a happy house just once after spending all day working for you? Is that so much to ask?" Anna didn't move, didn't react, didn't call me names or threaten to take Olivia with her to her aunt's. She just sat there, staring off into nothing, clutching a soggy lump of tissue to her lips. "I'm pregnant," she said. My gut fell out from under me. Shock became fear. Fear became rage. "What? How? You're on the pill, right? Have you been taking it regularly?" She looked up at me, her eyes swollen and red. "You know what I have to do," she said. "You know I have to have the baby." I exploded. I told her that it wasn't fair, that I had dreams, that it was my life that she was destroying. I accused her of purposefully sabotaging my dreams out of jealousy, of conspiring to have another baby because Olivia didn't love her. "What's wrong, Daddy?" Olivia was standing in the doorway looking at me with those big, wet blue eyes. "Go back to bed, baby," Anna sobbed. "Are you okay, Daddy?" Olivia said. "Listen to your mother," I said. "Are you mad?" Olivia said. "Get back to bed now." "But Daddy, if you're mad, I want to help." "Shut up and get to bed," I screamed. She stared at me, a deep well of hurt in her eyes. She scurried from the doorway and slammed the door to her room. I turned and went down the basement steps, slamming the door behind me. I paced around the concrete floor for hours, thinking. In the dim light, I stumbled into an old cardboard box. I looked down at it, then opened it up. It was the movie camera and the tapes I'd used to make my horror movie in high school. I dusted one off and went to the little TV cart in the corner with the old VHS machine connected to it. I plugged them in, then slid the tape into the machine, listening to the ancient gears whine and spool inside. I watched the movie, tearing up as I looked at myself in my stupid, stupid youth. "Why are you sad, Daddy?" I turned. Olivia was standing behind me, her big, sad eyes watching me cry. I tried to wipe my face clean, feeling my skin flush with shame. "I thought I told you to go to bed," I said. She looked up to the dusty TV screen. "What's that?" she said. I followed her eyes. It was the climactic moment, when my character, who was secretly the killer all along, murders Anna's character. I was straddling her and driving a fake plastic knife into her gut, while she screamed and choked on barbecue sauce. "That's my movie," I said. Her eyes opened wide in admiration. "You made a movie?" "Yes," I said, too exhausted to even yell at her anymore. "That's me and your mom. That's what we looked like when we were young." 16-year-old Anna screamed while we watched, her screams conspicuously changing pitch every time the shot switched to a different angle. "You make movies?" Olivia said. "I used to," I said. "I haven't made any in a long time." "Why not?" "Because I'm a daddy now," I said. I looked at her, trying to convey all the bitterness and despair I felt. "Because being a daddy takes up all my money, time, and energy. You need money, time, and energy to make movies, and I don't have much after taking care of you guys. And pretty soon you're going to get a new little brother or sister, and whatever money, time, and energy I have left will be gone, gone for good, and there will be none left to make movies." Olivia broke my train of thought. "I love you." She put her grubby hand on my shoulder. "I know," I said, shrugging it off. "Do you love me?" I looked up at where she stood, this sad, vulnerable child desperate for her father's love. I opened my mouth to say yes. Of course I loved her. She was my whole world. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever it is parents are supposed to say in this situation. But I just looked at her, and she knew. "Go to bed, Olivia," I said. Tears streamed down her face, and she turned to go. I listened to her climb the stairs, and I heard her tiny footsteps make their way to her room. I left the movie playing on the TV, went upstairs, grabbed my keys, and left. I drove for hours, taking back roads all along the countryside, long, straight roads. At first I was wallowing in self-pity. Everyone is against me, I thought. But then I thought about my own father. He left us to tour with his stupid band and ended up owning in a hotel in Tucson. I thought about how sad it was, how selfish that he had abandoned his real responsibilities to chase some stupid childish dream, how he had been punished for it in the end. I drove and thought, and I realized I was doing the same thing, and I had to stop. I parked in my driveway just as the dawn was breaking in the east, and I sat there. I knew that if I went back into that house, it would mean the end of my fantasy of leaving town and becoming a filmmaker, and the acceptance of my reality as a father and a husband. I knew that if I went back in there, I would have to rededicate myself to being the best man I could be for my family. A real partner for Anna, a real role model for Olivia and our new child, that I would have to work hard to mend bridges and build new ones. I got out of my car and entered the house. I had a strange feeling of relief, not being burdened by that old dream anymore, not having to worry about making a life that wasn't realistic. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like a failure. I entered the house with a new sense of purpose, of gratitude, of peace. Finally, after all this time, I felt the love for my family that I was supposed to feel. "Anna," I said, "we have to talk. I'm sorry for—" I turned the corner into the kitchen. Anna was sprawled out on the floor, her skin gray, her face slack, her eyes rolled up in her skull. She was laying in a dark pool of spattered blood, a huge crimson stain oozing slowly across the linoleum, glinting in the bright morning light. Olivia sat straddled across her chest, a kitchen knife held in her tiny hands, her shaking arms driving the blade again and again into Anna's lifeless gut. Olivia, who wanted to help her daddy. Olivia, who wanted her daddy to have all the money, time, and energy in the world. Olivia, who would do anything to make her daddy's dreams come true. Olivia stared up at me in the soft golden light. "Do you love me now, Daddy?" she said, as cold blood streaked down her cheeks like tears. "Do you love me now?"